Let's watch some clips of the good liars, this time at a North Carolina Trump rally where MAGA is delusional as ever, running off misinformation and misogyny. So I've lined a few of these clips up for us, and of course, we'll provide the context that is needed.
Liked his words, not like he did everything he said he was going to do when he did it.
So what are some of those things that he said and then he did?
I would have got down on one knee.
Maybe just one thing he said and then he did.
He caught me off guard there.
This is just one of those manufactured talking points from Trump. Like, he said it once and MAGA just ran with it without thinking whether or not they could actually defend it, when in fact, he actually did nothing that he said he would do. Either straight up just didn't do it or didn't do it at all in the way he said he would. He said he would pass tax cuts that would raise middle class incomes, trickle down to workers, and help the middle and lower classes. His tax cuts disproportionately were skewed to the rich. Incomes barely kept up with inflation. In fact, if you look at middle class incomes only, like cut out the top 10 to 1%, you saw that they actually slowed. They were 0.1% less than they were under Obama. Annual, like what somebody would make in an entire year, dropped an entire 1% for the bottom 60%. So no, didn't happen. And business investments dropped after the tax cuts under Trump. So no trickle down ever happened. He said he would build a wall and Mexico would pay for it. He, in fact, did not build a wall, and Mexico did not pay for the 50-something miles he did manage to build. He said he would replace Obamacare with something beautiful. In 2024, he admitted that he still only has concepts. He promised 6% GDP growth yearly. He only got 3% one year, and every other year was 2% if you add in how he lost GDP in 2020. He didn't even hit 6% total, let alone ever doing it yearly. He promised a manufacturing and job boom. We entered a manufacturing recession under Trump. He promised peace in the Middle East. The massacre at the Great March of Return was in 2018 under Trump. Each year between Israel and Palestine got deadlier under Trump, and Iran was able to massively up their nuclear arsenal. I mean, not a single promise, literally not a single one was met, yet people pretend that he's honest, he does what he says and isn't a politician, and that's why they support him, because that makes more sense than saying, I like how he allows me to be racist, right? It's one of the greatest brainwashes in American history.
Proof have you seen that it was stolen, the 2020 election?
Just all them ballots and COVID coming in where people can just mail in whatever they want to mail in. It's just unreal. You should never came to that.
You think COVID was related to the 2020 election?
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah.
Was sent here for that reason. Oh, yes.
You think COVID was sent here for influencing the 2020 election?
Yes, it was all a big old plan, and it's all going to come out in the end, and we're just waiting for that day and praying for that day, and it's going to come.
And we've lost loved ones. My best friend lost her daughter at 28 years old to COVID. There's no sense in that. No sense in it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, millions of people died. Over 1 million in America, millions around the world. You think it's infected people all over the world, a global pandemic, just to influence the 2020 election?
States of America, yes.
That's how evil they are, just like he was saying. All those people that's on the
But who did it? Who did it? Who released the virus?
Yeah, China and Democrats.
This is the level of delusion you absolutely have to consider normal to be in MAGA. These people are saying a global pandemic was created to defeat Trump. And they're not the only people who say this. This is a common talking point from the right. Someone who narrowly beat Hillary Clinton, one of the most unlikable candidates ever, beat her by 70,000 votes total, spread across a couple different states, caused Republicans to lose massively in 2018, and was legislatively the most ineffective president in like the last 50 years at least, passing only one bill and being unable to work or do much even with Republican majorities. This is the person that we created a global pandemic for. All of that just to stop him. Like, what are we doing here? Are we applying any critical thinking on MAGA's side? Like, anyone in MAGA, do you critically think? Also, mail-in ballots have been happening for decades. Most troops, like stationed abroad, stationed somewhere or the other, vote through mail-in ballots. There's never been any instances of widespread fraud when this happens. Republicans have never brought it up as a problem or said, hey, like, what's wrong with all this mail-in ballot voting and all of this? Because, of course, the troops typically lean Republican in their vote, so it wasn't a problem. But now that after COVID, it started to favor Democrats, all of a sudden now it's rigged, fraudulent, and can't be trusted. I mean, that alone kind of gives the game away, doesn't it?
Why'd you decide to come out here to the Trump rally?
Because I don't want that to be president. Pure and simple.
Are you talking about Kamala Harris?
Yeah, that Kamala Harris. Well, you an idiot.
And why are you calling her that word?
Because that's exactly what she is. I mean, I'd use the C word, but my mama hates it when I say that. So.
Right. And why do you think that?
Because that's exactly what she is. I mean, the proof's in the pudding.
Right. What has she done that makes you believe that?
What has she not done? What has she not done? What has she done? She's done nothing. Her commercials are full of bullshit.
So what's the one thing that she hasn't done, or the one thing that she has done that makes you call her that?
Communist. She's a communist, pure and simple. And we don't need communists. Yeah, she's a Marxist.
But what's the thing that she's done that makes her a communist?
Everything from paying bail for the criminals, letting them out early.
Okay, couple things I have to address here before we get to the substance. Mildly infuriating to see women laughing at this man's thinly veiled misogyny. It's kind of sad to see that level of cult mentality, that they don't even care that he's literally degrading a woman on the fact that she's a woman, right? I highly doubt this man's ever called a male politician a B word or a C word. Second, communism is paying bail for criminals? Are we being so for real right now? Like, this is what I mean. It's exactly what I mean when I say Trump and MAGA do not know what communism is. To them, it's just literally like the spooky catch-all term for anything they think is bad. What part of a moneyless, stateless, classless society means paying bail for criminals? I'll wait. And even further, if any MAGA's watching this, what country has a stateless, classless, moneyless society? When you want to point to all these countries and say they do communism, like, people literally just don't know what communism is. But as to well, Kamala's done nothing, and what has she done? Very briefly here, right? Missing out on a lot of other things she's done. She launched criminal justice reform as Attorney General, including Back on Track in California, which reduced recidivism in the state. She recovered billions, yes, billions with a B, for consumers in settlements against JP Morgan, Quest Diagnostics, Corinthian colleges. She created a hate crimes unit in San Francisco as DA, which saw hate crimes drop in San Francisco after, refused to prosecute Prop 8, defending same-sex marriage. She was part of the Senate Judiciary Committee and helped with multiple investigations. She has some of the most notable cross investigations moments in terms of being in the Senate and questioning people like Brett Kavanaugh, like others. As vice president, she was tasked with Central American immigration. She was able to direct aid and investment to these countries, which was very much needed, and immigration from those countries dropped after. She was pivotal in the child tax credit and also some of the small business tax credits being added in Biden's plan for recovery. She passed the tie-breaking vote more times than any other VP in history, including for the Inflation Reduction Act, for all these things that trickle down, expanding Medicare, bringing massive infrastructure to America. She was central in the negotiations with Russia and the largest hostage release since the Cold War. And she can also be directly tied to anything that Biden accomplished past, anything like that, including record student debt relief, record climate investment, more job creation than the last 3 Republican presidents combined, a manufacturing boom. I mean, let's be so for real. If we're comparing resumes, especially resumes when going for the office, what has Trump done? With majorities in both the House and Senate, he passed one bill that disproportionately affected the rich, and he didn't do a single thing that he promised that he would do.